The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
Where dinosaurs are alive to the present day. Ow. Whoo! Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Dino Fury video. As I was thinking about the content that I could put out before Dino Fury debuts, it occurred to me that I haven't let you all know what my hopes are for this newest iteration. So, that's what I'm here to do today. Here are my top 10 hopes for Power Rangers Dino Fury. This is becoming a pretty standard disclaimer for my hopes videos, but I've grown past including things that are strongly desired, but very unlikely to be included in a season. So you're not going to see me listing things like an original Orange Ranger or original Zords. Don't get me wrong, I'd absolutely adore it if they did that, and I fully invite Hasbro to surprise me, but these days my expectations are a little more grounded.
Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel.
Yeah, and make sure you got your notifications set up by hitting that little bell icon.
Right you. What he said was, you can consider checking us out on Patreon or Ko-fi at Orange Ranger Videos.
Number 10. Romance Among the Rangers. I know some of you just rolled your eyes at that since we just had it with Nate and Zoe and Ravi and Roxy during Beast Morphers, but I think it's a nice story element that can lead to some interesting plots. They don't always handle those plots very well. Looking at you, Commander, you two just proved why this rule exists, so I'm just going to Aladdin it instead, Shaw, but the potential is there. Romance among the Rangers is natural. You're going to see those types of relationships form in groups of comrades in arms. I don't need two. I think one would be fine. And I don't need Zato to be involved. He can be the alien, the stoic leader, more on his mind than to deal with that, etc., etc. Right now, my ship for this show is the Pink Ranger and the Blue Ranger. Amelia, to give it a name, if you will. They have a real opposites attract vibe to them right now. Number 9. Clarity on Season 2. Listen, I realize this is a little bit more logistical to the franchise than directly involved with the content of the show itself, but I do still think it's important. We've had it confirmed on multiple levels that Dino Fury is going to last 2 seasons. It's on the stunt team jackets, it's been mentioned in interviews, there was even recently a tweet about the composer of the show that confirms it. However, we have zero confirmation of a contract extension with Nickelodeon. Remember, as far as we're aware, this contract ends in 2021. The lack of an announcement could just be a logistical thing. They could be waiting for a certain date, or they could be working on some final details in negotiations. It's just that if we don't hear about this soon, you're going to have wondering about where the second half of the show is going to air, hanging over the first season. Number 8. Handle the collectible right. One of the ways in which Beast Morphers felt so refreshing is that they were the first season since Samurai to not feature a collectible gimmick for the toys. But we all know those days would not last very long. Sentai right now is firmly in the grips of the collectible gimmick toy era, and Ryusoulger was no exception. Little key statues a la Gokaiger Super Megaforce. Similar to downloadable content in video games, the issue isn't so much that it exists, but how these things are used. They need to be worked into the season carefully. You have Mick on hand, a technical expert. He should be developing these keys slowly over time, naturally growing the Rangers' arsenal. You've only got 22 episodes in the first season to get through about 25, 26 episodes of Sentai stuff, and Ryusoulger was a pretty toy-heavy feeling Sentai. Plot involvement with these things is key.
That was not funny.
Number 7. Original footage. This is something that Beast Morphers handled really well. Power Rangers Dino Fury is an adaptation. We're going to see plenty of Ryusoulger footage. However, since I've stated that I thought Ryusoulger had a pretty boring plot, in my hopes that they write a better one, you're gonna need to toss in some original footage. We've actually already seen some behind-the-scenes pictures with filming of original footage, even including the main villain character suits, so that does seem to be something that is in the offing. And I may not be officially asking for an original Zord, but how about some original Zord footage? Come on, Hasbro, not asking for very much, one fight. Just surprise us with one original Zord fight. I don't think that's asking much. Number 6, don't skimp on the Zord fights. Hey, speaking of the Zords, you know me, the Zords are my favorite part of Power Rangers, and I want them to be taken seriously. Important battle chariots. These things are amazing feats of technology and or magic, and should be treated as such. This is an area where Beast Morphers slipped up big time. Far too many super short, incredibly unimportant Zord fights. Oh, and here's something that Beast Morphers tended not to do, but they started to slip on it a little bit towards the end, and it's something that I find important. One Zord, one Ranger. If a Ranger is unavailable, so is their Zord. I know sometimes the Sentai footage doesn't cooperate with that, but you can edit around that, saying things like, Zeto's not here yet, so we can't form the Megazord, and this thing would trash our individual Zords. This one is going to lose me some points with people, but I've got to stand firm on it. I do not want the T-Rex Champion Zord to shrink down and do the Tiramigo thing. Listen, Tiramigo was cute, had some funny moments, etc., etc. I just don't think it works in an American story. I could be completely wrong about that. We had a robot walking around in a gym during Beast Morphers, and nobody seemed to think that was weird. But I just feel like a robotic T-Rex is a little bit more of a stretch to have just strutting around a boxing gym. Number 5, involve the greater universe. We like connectivity. We like the newest chapter in the story to be the ongoing tale of the franchise saga. Beast Morphers was a return to form in that sense, involving both of the other TV universes and forming an interconnected story. They're not really so fortunate with the team-up footage this time around. Ryusoulger's team-up movie was with Lupin Ranger versus Petranger, and that has not been adapted. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want them to use it. I think it could be a lot of fun. Think about it. Rangers from another dimension. A team of cop rangers chasing a team of thief rangers. They stumble into this dimension, run into the Dino Fury Rangers, and form an uneasy three-way alliance. I think it could be really entertaining. They would only need to use voice actors for the other two teams. Heck, they could pull a grid connection and just have the Dino Fury cast voice those Rangers as well. If we're not getting hinted to a team-up by this point, I highly doubt it's going to happen in Season 1. Maybe sometime after the hiatus, but probably over in Season 2, if at all. Start dropping the hints at that kind of a thing now. What universe is this season set in? When we saw that image of Zeto riding a dinosaur in the opening credits, I saw some people theorize that might mean we're in the Dino Charge universe again, since dinosaurs exist to the present day. Set things up right now for the possibility of connections, just like Beast Morphers did in Episode 1. Number 4, threatening main villain. Evox was not threatening as a virtual snake, and somehow became even less threatening when given a body. The look of the villain is not enough. Galvanax looks threatening enough, but did nothing but sit on his big butt and wasn't scary at all. Uh-oh, that's sure gonna annoy my hater that thinks Ninja Steel can do no wrong. If YouTube hasn't suspended their account yet for harassment. Choosing Void Knight to be the main villain is a great step in this direction. He has excellent potential to be an intimidating villain as a Power Ranger. Void Knight is a Dino Fury Ranger until they specifically say otherwise. As a Ranger, they should be very involved in the action a la Blaze and Roxy. But it's just as possible that they'll just sit in a cave and whine week in and week out. Number 3, engaging multi-episode arcs. Really getting into it now, heroes. Beast Morphers was fantastic at this. Even the filler episodes tended to have a little hint to the ongoing plot that kept things going. Not always, but usually. The story for the first season of Dino Fury should be plotted from the very beginning, and every single episode should touch on that story. Even the clip shows. Look at Making Bad. Make it have a purpose. So we already maybe have a hint that this is going to happen. Zato's character summary says that he doesn't want to let what happened to his homeworld, Rafkon, happen to Earth. But the episode preview for the third episode says the Rangers intercept a transmission from space, and Zato wonders if it's from Rafkon. So there's actually a little mystery about what happened to Rafkon, and hopefully that mystery lasts the entire season and they sprinkle little hints to it throughout. Number 2, satisfying hiatus off-season cliffhangers. You can say it with me at this point. Beast Morphers did this pretty well. Season 1 went into the hiatus with the debut of the Gold and Silver Rangers. Not exactly a cliffhanger, but it left us wanting to see more of them. The season ended with Mayor Daniels staring at the purple energy on his hand, hinting to his infection by Evox. Season 2 had a fantastic hiatus cliffhanger with Mayor Evox exposed to the Rangers. Obviously, Season 2 didn't have a season-ending cliffhanger, but here is my point. When the show is leaving the air for months at a time, you need to give a reason for even the children to come back and watch again. It is true for a lot of the kids in the audience, I think the younger ones in Power Rangers age range, that they just like the colors and the explosions and they don't really care what episode of what season is on. But I think even the slightly older kids in the fan base know reruns when they see them. This ties into the advertising too. Nickelodeon has been doing kind of season return, the show is coming back, semi-general trailers. I really want the return of episode-specific commercials, especially around this time. Very specific story details. This happened, now this is going to happen, so tune in for the big premiere. However, the story and the way it's structured do play into that. Number 1. Avoid moralistic Rangers are idiots plots. Power Rangers is a kids show. Kids shows have to teach lessons to the kids. Okay, maybe have to is a little strong there, but Power Rangers has always felt that obligation. I'll say it again. The problem is not doing it. The problem is how it's done. When Mick was revealed to be a part of this show, I saw some people immediately go, oh, good, the morals are back. Better get that moral of the day graphic ready, OR. The most frustrating thing about how Power Rangers has been teaching morals lately, and Beast Morphers was 100% guilty of this, is ripping the Rangers out of their established characteristics so they can learn a lesson and go right back to their established characteristics. Perfect example. Devin spent most of 2 seasons learning to be the perfect leader for his team, and then treats Cruz like trash after 1 conversation with Blaze.
I get it.
I don't get it.
Fit the morals into what we know about the Rangers' characters. This is not difficult. I can come up with some right now based on the little short paragraphs that we got about some of the Rangers. Ollie is a skeptic and often needs proof to believe in things. Maybe he could stand to be a little bit more trusting. Amelia, on the other hand, believes in the paranormal. Maybe sometimes she's a little bit gullible and needs to learn how to trust her instincts a little bit better. Oh, and make sure to tie the morals into the plot so they're not so obviously obligatory. And that is going to do it for my top 10 hopes for Power Rangers Dino Fury. We are less than 1 week from this show debuting, and considering that I have a comically long review to get done this week, this will probably be my last pre-launch Dino Fury video. So, let's take a peek at the first episode of Power Rangers Dino Fury, Destination Dinohenge. Go-getting reporter Amelia accompanies Ollie and his mom, Dr. Akana, to investigate the mysterious Dinohenge statues. They run into an evil warrior named Void Knight and a threat that puts the entire world in danger. Now that the video's done, you can let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. What are your hopes for Dino Fury? Are any of them the same as mine? Do you have some different ones? Discuss that down in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button to let me know that you enjoyed this video. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. As I was thinking, this is something that one Zord, one Ranger. If a Ranger is unavailable, so is their Zord. Ah! Now that doesn't mean I don't want them to use it. I think it could be really interesting. This happened, now this is gonna happen. Tune in. Bleh! The most frustrating thing about how Power Rangers has been teaching them, and Beast Morphers was 100% guilty of biting its lip. Ollie is a skeptic and often needs to they run into an evil warrior named Void Knight and do-do-do, 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 do-do-do.